All right, there has been a lot of talk about the best players 25 and under, 23 and under, and all that in the NBA. With all these young guys coming out, taking the league by storm. Man, the league is in some great hands. There's no question about it. So I am going to give you my top 5 players to start a team with. 23 years and under.
Number 5.
Trae Young. Trae Young is fantastic. It is amazing how quickly. Now, I'm not saying he's going to be as good as Steph Curry. I mean, obviously, Steph has 3 championships. He is historic, and Steph changed the game. But it is amazing how quickly, how soon we've seen kind of another Steph Curry.
Yeah, and there's also, wasn't he traded on draft day for Luka?
Yes.
Has there been a draft in which it's involved, I guess maybe Chris Webber was traded for Penny Hardaway. I think that was a draft day trade.
That's a good comparison.
And those guys had great careers, but these guys are borderline rock stars this early into their career.
No question. And that's a trade that they're going to be compared throughout their careers. And Trae Young, 30 points, 9 assists, gives you 4 rebounds too, and like in the top 12 in PER. So Trae Young at number 5.
Number 4.
People are going to think this is too low. Zion Williamson.
Wow.
All right, I get it. He's putting up these historic numbers per minute and all that. He's not rebounding very well. He's not defending very well. I get it. He's 19. I'm not trying to diss him. He's a great player, but right now he would be the 4th guy that I would start a team with. I do love the fact that he doesn't dominate the basketball. He can get me 25 points the old-fashioned way, just quickly and efficiently. But still, there's some limitations to his game, and he's not going to age as well as a lot of these guys because once some of that athleticism is gone, it's going to be a lot tougher on him.
Number 3.
Ja Morant. Now, a lot of people think I'm tripping. How can you take Ja over Zion easily? Ja Morant, it's a perimeter league now, and Ja Morant has already come in and done damage. Right now, he's got the Memphis Grizzlies in the playoffs. They don't have nearly the amount of talent as the New Orleans Pelicans have, and Ja's giving me 17.5 points, 7 dimes a game. He's hitting the three-pointer at 35%. He's going to get better at that. 49% overall, great court vision, outstanding passer, runs the offense, and can score and defends.
Rookie of the year. You got Ja Morant over Zion?
Oh, yeah. 37 games, just not enough.
This whole Zion for Rookie of the Year crap has got to stop.
No question. It's just not enough games.
No,
now,
not
if
at
he
all.
played the entire season, I probably would go with Zion.
Yeah, of
over
course.
Ja. But no, not at this point.
Number 2.
Jason Tatum. How you like
man.
that? I mean, this dude, I'm not going to call him a superstar right now, but he is on his way. Next year, he'll be a superstar. And here's the thing I love about him, Jonas. He has already shown us he can do it in the playoffs.
Yep.
When they went without Kyrie to the Eastern Conference Finals, he was great. And this guy now, great handle, shooting 48% from 3 over the last month, can get to the rack, can shoot in the mid-range, dunk on you, defend. This dude's the truth.
He looks like a more athletic Paul Pierce when you watch him play.
I like that. Paul Pierce for today, because obviously he shoots the 3. Pierce could shoot it, but just didn't as much because the game was different. But that's a good comparison.
Number 1.
All right, the number 1 player, you can probably guess it, Luka Doncic. I mean, this dude, he plays, now he's not LeBron James, but he plays like LeBron. He's not as athletic, but as far as handling the ball, being a great passer, having the vision, giving you 25 to 30 points a night efficiently for the most part, this dude is the truth, man.
Yeah, I wish people would just, who's he remind you of? Larry Bird. Why is that? Well, it's the way
I know,
that he,
I
just say it's because he's white. It's because he's white. Can we just stop
Now,
this?
I admit it, too. I say it's because he's white. If he was black, I'd be comparing him to James Harden, maybe LeBron, not Bird.
Like people say, who does Joe Burrow remind you of? Oh, Tony Romo. What, because he's white and he wore number 9? No, it's their style of play. Tony Romo wasn't even drafted. Joe Burrow's going to go number 1 overall. Stop.
I am totally with you, Jonas.
Racist.
It's not
racist.
It is not
We're being
racist
honest here.
to talk about ethnicity. We don't discriminate against ethnicities. We just talk about it.
Like nobody says, hey, who does Boban remind you of? Oh, Manute Bol. Nobody says that. It's George Mirasan.
No question. And this is J. Rue the Damager for all those that didn't know, I don't think DJ Alex the Vegan knew.
I had no idea. I
You
thought
didn't
this
know,
was
but
like a
this
food
beat is
site.
hot, isn't it?
It's kind of fresh.
This is one of the dopest beats back in the 90s. And you got to hear it. I'm just going to turn the floor over to you, Jonas.
So there's a lot of talk over the past several days. This has been happening the last week and a half or so. It feels like a media push to get LeBron James the MVP. And so there's this thought out there that he's not getting enough love, and over the past week or so, here we go. LeBron should get more credit for what's happening with the Lakers. Is LeBron more of an MVP candidate than we all thought? And there's some people who think LeBron actually deserves the MVP over Giannis Antetokounmpo. Now, a couple of days ago, my thought was this. I think Giannis deserves the award, but I do think they're going to give it to LeBron. That was a couple of days ago. And then all of a sudden, with all this hype and all this talk about LeBron James being a dark horse MVP candidate, the betting odds actually shifted, and it's more in favor of Giannis Antetokounmpo to be the MVP as it was a couple of days ago when the frenzy was LeBron deserves some MVP consideration. So here's my theory. The only reason in the midst of all this hoopla and all this fanboying out for the odds to change when everybody's talking about LeBron James and what a year and what he's done for the Lakers and the team and blah, 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 all of it. The only reason the odds would have improved more for Giannis in the midst of all of that is if somebody contacted maybe a couple of voters, somebody in Vegas, picked their brains and said, hey, a lot of buzz out there. Who do you like? Who are you leaning towards? And they got enough information to tell them, don't buy the garbage. We're voting for Giannis, and that's why the odds got even more drastic for anybody else to compete. And Giannis is now even more of a favorite, even in the midst of all this LeBron ball washing we've gotten over the past several days.
Wow.
How's that?
Wow.
For a conspiracy theory.
That is a take. That's a take. Look, I don't know. I don't know that I'm not into Vegas and all that. I don't know that they call voters. I'm a voter. They didn't call me.
Okay,
I'll tell you that.
when they called you, what was your answer to that? Did you just do the vote on the phone or what?
No, I'd be shocked if they're calling voters. But you know Vegas better than me. Maybe they do that. But I'm with you. Look, Skip Bayless said this a week ago that he thinks LeBron's going to win the MVP. He said just what you said. Giannis deserves it, but that the media is going to give it to LeBron. I've never believed that. At that time, I was like, no, I know a lot of the voters, if not most of them, and I don't think they would do that, just the story, the narrative. But over the past few days, I was getting major pushback, not from media members, mind you, but just fans on Twitter, a lot of people. I'm surprised at how many people have thought LeBron should be the MVP over Giannis. And then what really swayed me to think, you know what? Something's going on. I think the league may want LeBron to win the MVP is when he was named Western Conference Player of the Month for the second straight month. First person to do it since, or first Laker to do it since Kobe in 2008, 2009, I believe. And look, LeBron was great last month and this month, but you could have made a great argument for Damian Lillard in January, who averaged 34 points, had a bunch of huge games. And then this month, Westbrook has been phenomenal.
100%.
He did sit out a few games, so is the league bothered by the quote-unquote load management? Maybe. And then Giannis, who won the first 3 months in the East Player of the Month, and then this month averaged 28 points, 17 rebounds, and they go 9-0, and he doesn't get it.
Right.
And Jason Tatum played great, but they lost 3 games that month. So, it made me say, is something going on to try to push this narrative that LeBron should be the MVP?
Yeah, and there is something to the newness of it. Like everybody, there's the newness to anything. I actually thought James Harden should have been the MVP last year, but it was Giannis. But I felt the same thing last year. I thought I would have voted for James Harden, but I felt like Giannis was going to get it because there was a public push.
Did you think that? Because Harden said, when I voted for Giannis. When Giannis won, Harden said there was a narrative. And I couldn't disagree more because what is the narrative for Giannis? Did you think there was a narrative for it?
It felt like there was more discussion for Giannis than there was for James Harden. That's how I took it.
We talked a lot about Harden's run. I mean, he had a string of 40-point games or something crazy.
He had no help because was Chris Paul was out for an extended period of time, so he had no help, and he was on what was it, 30+ points a game, forever, however many games he did it. So I felt like there was more discussion, especially down the stretch, for Giannis last year, and it feels like we're teetering towards every time LeBron. I even heard somebody say that a game the other night in which Milwaukee didn't play well, and I'm forgetting the team that they lost against. Yeah, they lost to and Giannis didn't play well. He had 19 points. It was at the Heat. I think it was the Miami Heat.
They lost to Miami,
who are a good team, especially at home. Giannis had a bad game, and the narrative was, ooh, is the MVP race now tightening? And I'm thinking, hold on a second. Are we doing game-by-game analysis on the MVP race? And in the midst of all of that, and the media talking about how the race is tightening, the odds have gotten longer? The odds are more in favor of Giannis? It just somebody had to have talked to somebody or known somebody. And the only other recent comparison I have to this is a couple of years ago, the Heisman Trophy odds shifted dramatically to where Kyler Murray was all of a sudden a heavy favorite to be the Heisman Trophy winner. And we talked about it on Straight Outta Vegas. And one of the things we thought was, look, you only change odds if you've got information. And the only information you would have is, hey, if you were going to vote today, who would you vote for? And there was enough of it that the odds changed ahead of time. And I think that's what happened here. Somebody got a hold of somebody. They didn't tell them exactly who they were going to vote for, but they just kind of gave them an inkling that, yeah, from what I'm understanding, most people are leaning towards Giannis, even though there's a buzz for LeBron.
Well, here's the thing, and I don't think they had to look far. Look, I've said I'm a voter, so maybe they know I'm a voter. I've been saying this, Giannis. ESPN ran a story just earlier this week, one of their 5-on-5s where they asked their writers, and the question was, can LeBron catch Giannis for MVP? And Bobby Marks said, no, it's Giannis. Jackie McMullen gave LeBron a chance but leaned toward Giannis. Royce Young, Giannis. Kirk Kingsbury, he seems to think Giannis too. And then Kevin Pelton, Giannis. So they all said Giannis too.
And they're voters, I'm assuming.
I don't think most.
Jackie McMullen's been covering the league for years.
I bet Royce Young probably is, and those may be two of the only two that vote. But I may be wrong. I'm not sure.
But there's clearly been a lot of conversation about LeBron deserving the MVP. And I do think in the year in which the Kobe Bryant tragedy happened, I do think that plays into people's emotions a lot and still does because it happened a little over a month ago and he's a Laker and all of that. The season Giannis is having, I don't think people realize how good Milwaukee has been this year. I really don't.
He has the best player efficiency rating, not of the season, of all time.
It's insane.
Higher than
insane.
Wilt. And Wilt, we know what Wilt was doing. Yeah. 50 points, 27 rebounds a game.
And off the court.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
he was efficient in all types of ways. What's happening, y'all? It's Chris Broussard.
I'm Rob Parker.
And we are
The Odd Couple. Check us out as often as you can on YouTube.
And always remember, I'm Oscar, and he's Felix.
Oh, man. Are you serious?